Hey guys, how's it going? Azra Collections here, and today we're looking at the ZDToys Hulkbuster Mark II action figure from AliExpress. Alright, to kick things off, let's get into the origin of this thing. AliExpress is usually known for its knockoff figures or bootleg figures, but this is not like a bootleg figure. I think it's an official Marvel licensed figure, but only for the Chinese market. So that's why you find it on sites like AliExpress. This figure, I think initial thoughts is it's a pretty good figure. It just looks substantial. It's pretty heavy to the touch. It feels really nice. It's got good details everywhere. The paint on it is pretty good as well. It compares well to the actual movie Hulkbuster as well. So this is the Hulkbuster in Infinity War after Thanos beats the crap out of Hulk, and then Hulk later just refuses to turn into Hulk. Bruce Banner just uses this armor for the rest of the movie. So that's where this is from, and it looks pretty accurate to what it is. I compared it to the Hot Toys figure, which is generally a really good representation of the movie. The only difference I could find is that the feet are a little bit more flat than it is on the Hot Toys figure. But other than that, everything else is captured pretty well in this figure. So yeah, I think it's for 50 to 60 Australian dollars. It's a pretty good figure. It's painted well, it's sculpted well, it's got a lot of details. It comes with a few accessories that I'll get into later, but it's a good figure for the price. So the reason that I got this figure is because with the Marvel Legends figure, you've got to collect 7 pieces of 7 figures and then 7 pieces subsequently to put the figure together, which does get a little bit expensive, and it's not even the Mark II version. It's the Mark I version from Avengers, I think Age of Ultron. So yeah, I didn't really like that figure too much. The paint is a little bit more dull in terms of how it looks like on the figure, and it doesn't really represent well what the movie looked like. There is another version of it where it comes with, I think, the Hulk, but yeah, I've not really researched too much into that because I've got this figure and I'm really liking it so far. So that's why I have him. And yeah, he's pretty good on all sides. So if you have a look here, there's a lot of details going on. There's a lot of painting. The profile looks massive. Just a really good hulking figure, and that's what you need the Hulkbuster to be, right? So yeah, it looks really good on all sides. So even on the back here, you can see there's a lot of details. More screw holes and stuff like that as well. But yeah, you're not displaying him from the back anyway. So there's just a lot of details everywhere you look. They've got arc reactors everywhere. It's basically a good figure all in all. Alright, so let's take a closer look at this figure just in terms of all the details that it has. That's what the face looks like. Let me just focus. Yep, so the face looks pretty good. It looks really like the armor that's movie used. So there's a lot of details there. There's a lot of sculpting going on. The arc reactor here looks pretty good. The fists have a lot of details as well. The shoulder pads are detailed. There's just a lot of details everywhere on this figure. Arc reactors here, arc reactors on the back. Yep, a lot of sculpting details, just a lot of good details going on here. Arc reactor up here as well. Sorry, I had that off screen. In terms of articulation on this figure, let's have a look. So the head can't really do much, so it's pretty much basically bolted on. It does move a tad bit left and right, but I think that's just, I wouldn't risk it because it's got wires that come in for the light up feature, which looks like that. But yeah, I'll get to that later. The arms can go out quite a bit, so I think you could push it further up as well. I'm just a little bit worried, but that's how far it goes up, which is pretty good. You come down, it can go up or go forward that much. You could go back that much. What? Sorry, just get rid of that. So you could go back that much. The elbows have double jointed. No, it's a double jointed elbow. The hands are ball pegged, so you could just go all the way around, which it does pretty well. There's no torso articulation, but for a figure that big, yeah, you probably wouldn't expect any articulation there. He's got a thigh cut here, so that goes around. I'm just pressing the buttons. It goes around, goes forward that much, which is like negligible. It goes a little bit back, which is not that much either. And he's got a single, it looks like a double joint, but I can only activate it like on the bottom, so don't know why that's happening, but I can only get it to work on the bottom. And the feet can basically swivel a little bit, but no pivot, nothing else. It just moves around just a little bit. So it's not the best of articulation, But I think for a figure that big and a figure that looks that good, it does enough. All right, so in terms of accessories, he does come with like extra hands that are open. So they look pretty consistent with the figure. They're sculpted really well. The painting on it is awesome, so it's very consistent with the figure itself. And he comes with like two Gatling kind of guns that are probably replacements for the hands, based on the peg, but I can't really fit them in. I've tried a little bit, but they don't really work. The hands swap out and swap in pretty easily, so that's a plus for that. In the next shot, I'll just put the open arms, open hands, so that it's we get to see that as well. But yeah, I don't know where to put the Gatling guns. I think you replace them in the arms, but the hole that the peg inserts into is a little bit small, so I couldn't really get it to fit. So here we have the hand swapped. They did fit in pretty well, and they retain all the articulation. It's a little bit tough to get in because you just have to apply a little bit of pressure on it. But once it's in there, it's pretty secure. It does everything you would expect it to do. So that's pretty cool. So in terms of the light up gimmick, I think this figure does it really well. Let's just have a look at what it looks like. So it just really shines through pretty bright. Like even when I've got the lights on, if I turn the lights off, yeah, we could obviously see it's a lot better. There's a little bit of bleed here, but there's a like a translucent part under the headpiece. But yeah, the lighting is pretty good. I've seen a few images on AliExpress where these light up as well, but on mine they don't. So I think I probably got like a previous version or something. But I still think they look pretty cool. The light up feature is pretty awesome, and it does its job well. So let's get the lights back on. So the way that the light up feature works is if we have a look at the back side. Ooh, so when we're looking at the back side, there's one more light here. Let's turn the lights off just so that we can see that clearly. Yep, so that's what it looks like. So just how it works is you press this little button here, and it turns on and off, which is pretty cool. And it's an internal battery system. You don't need to replace batteries, so you could just charge it with a USB cable. So in terms of height reviews, let's compare them next to a few other ZDToys figures. So on the left here, we've got the Thanos from ZDToys. It's also a Chinese product, same line. But yeah, it's a pretty big figure. I think these guys are supposed to be 7 inch. But yeah, they kind of work out with the Marvel Legends line as well. So that's the ZDToys Thanos, and that's the ZDToys Hulk. Alright, so this is what the Hulkbuster looks like next to other MCU Marvel Legend figures. On the left here, we've got Iron Man from the 2-pack with Spider-Man from Infinity War. Yeah, that Iron Man has absolutely awesome colors, so I just really love the color on the Iron Man. And on the right here, we've got Steve Rogers, Captain America, Nomad figure from Infinity War as well. Yeah, in terms of the scale on the figures, I think that the Hulkbuster should be a little bit bigger, based on what I've seen online. But yeah, I think this still works out. I mean, I think Captain America should only reach around Hulk's like torso, the waist area. But yeah, this is a little bit smaller, but I think it still works. Alright, so let's look at a few other bigger figures from the Marvel Legends line. These are all Build-A-Figure figures. So on the extreme left here, we've got called Obsidian, who is not accurate to the movie, but he's quite a big figure. It took me a really long time to put him together, but yeah, that's a really impressive figure, and he's bigger than Hulk. Uh, Sorry, he's bigger than the Hulkbuster. I think that's accurate. He was pretty big in the movie, and yeah, bigger than Thanos. So yeah, he was pretty big. Right next to him, we've got Thanos, who is the armored version, also build a figure. Looks pretty cool. I think around about a good height compared to the Hulkbuster figure, but I think yeah, Hulkbuster might benefit with being a little bit bigger. And on the extreme right, we've got the Giant Man build a figure from, I think it's Civil War. I think that's from the airport scene, but yeah, that figure I think is a little bit too short. The giant man was I think at least 2 stories tall, and this is barely a little bit over 1 story tall if you look at the diorama behind it. So here we have the Hulkbuster compared to a few DC figures. So on the left here we've got the DC Collectibles Bizarro figure. Right next to him we've got the DC Collect and Connect Doomsday. I think they scale all right, because they're different lines, different brands, different everything. Yeah, it doesn't really matter how they look. I just wanted for people to know what they look next to each other. Next to him, we've got the Batman from McFarlane Toys, and at the end there, we've got the Batman Beyond from DC Multiverse Mattel. And last but not least, here's what he looks like next to the Mezco Spider-Man from Homecoming and the Batman armor, Hellbat armor from McFarlane Toys.